So I'm going to recap just real quickly what we did because I'm recording it for those who couldn't make it to class today. So I'm going to go back to our Moodle page and look at, so you guys watched the two videos, Why STEM and What is STEM? And then you read through the STEM attributes description. And so let's just talk a little bit about, so what did you learn about STEM? What is STEM and what are some important parts of STEM?
STEM is hands-on connected learning.
Excellent, Abby, yes. So students should be engaged in some kind of hands-on activity, but hands-on activity alone is not STEM, and that sometimes is confused in classrooms where kids are doing experiments or something, and so it's just assumed that that's either STEM or that's inquiry just because they are getting to play with science equipment. So what else is an important component about STEM?
For me, it just really emphasized that every unit of STEM needs to be taught at the same time, and because they're all interconnected with each other. And it's not just about how we were usually taught, where you have a science class and a math class and maybe a technology elective or maybe an engineering unit.
Excellent, Madison. That was hopeful. I was hoping somebody would mention the key to STEM is that it's integrated, and it's not, I have science in the morning, math in the afternoon, literacy every Tuesday and Thursday, right? It's like all the content areas are intertwined, taught at the same time, and are around a specific project. And so it's not even that, oh, I'm teaching science and then I have them write about the science as their literacy piece. It's all pertinent and relevant to actually completing the project. So instead of just writing about their science, they actually would use their literacy to complete a part of the project, like keeping a notebook or a journal on their observations during their lab. So it would be an integrated part, not just something that they do after the fact. So excellent point. Well, I'm going to give you some practice in identifying STEM components, and then we'll come back again and see if there are certain ones that you identify as being critical, and we'll share out a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you into breakout rooms, and in your breakout rooms, you get to decide how you want to preview the article that is called Catch Me If You Can, Gingerbread Man. That is linked on our Moodle site. I'll actually also upload it into our Google Drive, because in the Google Drive, you'll notice that I have added a folder called STEM Attributes, and there are 4 group copies of the attributes form. So what you're going to do in your group is you're going to open that form for your group, and you're going to actually indicate which of the components. So this is what the attributes checklist looks like. So you're going to read the article and you're say, okay, in this lesson, does it integrate science, technology, engineering, and math? And in your group, you're going to decide, yes, that's all present, or no, that doesn't, the lesson doesn't do that. And you'll indicate that by marking an X or yes on under the right column. And you'll go through all those attributes you just previewed, and you'll evaluate this lesson plan to see which ones it does include and which ones it does not. And there is at least one that is not included. And so at the bottom, then your group will decide, okay, let's say that this lesson doesn't develop communication and literacy skills. So how would you, as a teacher, add that into this lesson to make it more STEM? And so any categories that you identified that are not present, you have to come up with teaching ideas for including that in this lesson. Okay, so you will do this as a group. So one of you can decide to fill it out, or you can all contribute to it at the same time. If you open it up, it'll be a collaborative document. And since we have 10 people, 3, 6, not yet 10, there will be a couple groups that have 3 and a couple groups that have only 2 in them. Actually, yeah, I think it would be more efficient if we do 3 and 2. So any questions about what you're supposed to do in your breakout group? Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen. You will find your form in the Google Drive, and at least one person will have to open it up and fill it out. And I'm just going to randomly assign you 2 groups. So I'm going to create 4 groups automatically. And if you have any questions once you're in your group about what to do, you can actually summon me to your group, but I will kind of pop in and just check in on you. So the first thing you have to do is decide how you want to read through the article. You can do that by each reading. You can do it silently and then come back and talk about it. It's up to you. Okay. Any last questions? Okay, have fun. Okay, just a few more seconds as we wait for everybody to come back in. And for those groups that are already in here, I'm going to just give you like 1 minute to share an idea you had about something that was missing and what your idea was for adding it. And as I look over your templates, you had some great ideas for incorporating things that were not included yet. Okay, it looks like we have, see, I ripped you right out there, Alyssa. Sorry about that. It's sometimes a little awkward about pulling you back in too. So I'm going to give you just each group about 1 minute to share one thing that you noticed you thought was missing and the idea for what you decided would be a way to incorporate that. So in looking at your forms, it looks like most of you got to that. And if you didn't, you can just say we didn't get to that yet. So would anybody, group 1, you want to go? You had a great idea. Someone from group 1?
Yeah, we thought that this lesson plan, it was missing the forms partnerships with business, industry, agencies, and nonprofits. And so our idea was to maybe have a guest speaker who works with traps, like with animals and stuff. So to have them and come in and talk about the certain traps that they might use and all that. So yeah.
I love that idea. And do you think about how interested the kids would be in that? Like that would make this lesson so much more engaging and give them so much more creative imagination about how to put together their traps. So I think, and that would be a pretty easy modification to this lesson to find somebody who would be willing to come in and do that. Perhaps even a parent of a student. So great idea. All right, group 2, what was yours?
We kind of had the same thoughts along the line, well, with the forms partnerships with business industry agencies. We thought that was not included, and Kaylin thought it would be fun to have like an exterminator come into the classroom and talk about how they get rid of rodents and whatever in the schools. But But we also talked about maybe having like a baker come in and baking gingerbread men with the students and then having them decorate it, or people from like Home Depot coming in and teaching them how to build traps with the materials from Home Depot. Those are just a couple ideas that we had.
Great ideas. And one thing you'll get to know as a teacher, an elementary teacher particularly, is a lot of the building supply places work with teachers and actually donate lots of free stuff. And they love to have the kids go out and talk to the students or have the kids come and visit. And so that's a great place to partner with. Great ideas. All right, group 3.
We talked about that wasn't present was the businesses one too. And ours was more like having the kids vote on what trap is the best, and then they can get a prize for which trap was the best. So yeah.
So maybe making it a bit of a competition.
Yeah.
Yeah, and believe it or not, competition works really well with kids.
Mm-hmm.
I know some people think that's a horrible thing, but I think used correctly, that can be very motivating. As long as people don't feel like they're failures, that's the part that we have to protect against. Okay, group 4.
I think okay, so we didn't get to the part of like what we would do to change it, but we also agree with everybody that it didn't really have the partnership with businesses. We did talk a little bit about the difficulties of the food part of it in the classroom, because a lot of times now there's restrictions and things like that of what they can eat or what they're allowed to bring in, and it can even go from your school but all the way down to your specific classroom. So the other thing that we talked about was like firefighters or policemen, because they have seen those in the community. In kindergarten, we didn't think of a lot of careers that they would be really aware of. So even if it was just like a policeman or a firefighter, because they have those, when they jump out of buildings, you've seen the trampolines that they kind of like catch them in to help them, which isn't necessarily a trap, but that was the first thing that my mind thought of, was something fun and visual that they know and they've seen, or like an episode of Tom and Jerry, a cartoon where they've seen a trap, just to connect everybody on that level. Because we talked a lot about, especially in kindergarten, there's varying levels of, there's kids who haven't been to preschool at all, and there's kids who've been in preschool for 2 years. So really, we talked a lot about scaffolding and what it would take to get them to the point to do this experiment. Right, Madison? That was pretty much it.
That was, and some great discussion about, you do have such a wide range of kids' abilities coming into kindergarten, and how you would have to differentiate for some kids in terms of how you scaffolded this lesson, for sure. Yeah, we'll talk a little more about that towards the end of this summer term. Okay, so that's STEM. You've kind of got a good idea about what are the components, and it's not just about teaching math, science, engineering, technology all at the same time, but it's also about making it relevant, connecting it to real life experiences, using proficiency assessments. We'll talk more about that as we go on. Really developing problem solving skills and creative critical thinking in students, giving them an opportunity to use those skills rather than just repeat or regurgitate something we've presented. So, and you'll use those skills as we move forward in thinking about when you design some lessons. So I'm going to go over real quick what we're going to do for this week for engineering. And then also keep in mind that these will build into your final project, which is you'll be writing up a lesson plan, an outdoor school lesson plan. So that incorporates all of this together. So I'm going to share my screen one more time, and we're going to talk about the to-do list for week 4. And I'm also going to look at the Moodle shell, and so you can see where this is. So this week you have a design forum post that you have to take a look at and post in by the 17th, and then respond by the 19th. And then you have engineering is elementary video notes and quiz that you have to take. And then you're going to be doing some research on finding a lesson plan that at least incorporates engineering and math at the elementary level. So those are the 3 activities that you have to complete this week. So I'm going to switch over to our Moodle site here and show you where you'll find those. So at the top, it tells you of week 4. It says you're going to look over. So this is a 3rd grade engineering standard. It is actually an NGSS standard. So one of the new things about NGSS is it includes engineering standards for all grade levels. So you're going to just take a look at that and kind of get an idea of what that includes and how that's organized. Then you're going to find out a little more about engineering and what it is. What do engineers do? So you're going to actually find 2 articles on engineers, and you're going to watch this IDEO shopping cart video on engineering. And you're going to take that information and you're going to fill out this "What do engineers do" graphic organizer. And you're going to use that information to complete the post for this week, the forum post. The second thing you're going to do is you're going to do this engineering is elementary video series. So there's actually lots of videos. This is actually an elementary curriculum that is really popular, and you'll find it in a lot of elementary schools. And so this is just the kind of the overview of it, but they come in kits. And so if your school has this curriculum, you'll have these binders that have all of these projects that it'll talk about in these videos. So you're just going to get an overview of the curriculum. You're going to watch the first 3 videos, and then you're going to take the quiz on the EIE videos. So you'll definitely want to take some notes, and I've provided some questions for you to kind of guide you in your note taking during the videos that will help you with that quiz. You'll get 2 attempts at the quiz to complete it. And then the last thing is you're going to try to find an engineering and math lesson plan for elementary. You can look at NSTA. You can look at, just go on Google and find one that has, I mean, the more components that it has of STEM, the better. But what is required is you find one that has at least engineering and math combined in it. Okay. And then you're going to, for that one, you're going to post your lesson and like about a paragraph description of how it integrates math and engineering. So those are your assignments for week 4. Again, I've posted a to-do list for you to take a look at. And now you got a brief overview. Any questions about what you're doing this week? Okay. If you run into trouble or have questions, email me. So you can consider your work done on STEM was done in class. So you don't need to, on the to-do list is a section on that for students who didn't participate in the Zoom meeting. So you've already got one of your assignments done. Yay. All right. Well, I'm only 1 minute over. I will see you then in 2 weeks. And we'll kind of wrap up for the end of the term. And then next week, I will post kind of an instruction video for week 5 on what to do instead of having a Zoom meeting like I did last week. All right. Well, it was good to see you. Hope you have fun with the engineering. I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Hi, I just wanted to let you know that I'm going camping this weekend.